Welcome to day 43 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of December 1997, which was Titanic.
Titanic.
What a great drum roll.
I had to do it because we hyped it so much, and even though everyone knew it, so it's fine.
Wait, we're watching the highest grossing film of all time for like over 20 years or however fucking, I don't know, I can't even count. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, Titanic. It was
My ship sank.
Yep. That's all Tara cared about.
The literal ship sank.
I think, yeah, at one point you just said, I'm just watching this to see the pretty boat.
Yeah.
No, because I admit that I like reading up on the Titanic and doing all the things. So for me, for this movie, I was watching it purely for because I could recognize some of the things, and then I was explaining a couple of things too, where at one point, one of the rooms is the grand staircase room, and it was actually like a really well, in the movie you can see it for yourself, but it was really nice architecturally wise and everything and such. And then there was like the Turkish baths, but they didn't really show that, which was like a mosaic thing and stuff. I'm just still sad over my ship. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm actually surprised at that this movie didn't because I honestly, I'd never seen this before, and so from what I heard, I was like, okay, it's like this romance kind of thing with in the setting of the Titanic, right?
Mm.
But it was actually a lot more focused on the actual Titanic than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, which is nice.
I didn't know anything about that documentary kind of thing that's going on, where Rose is old in the beginning and kind of the end. I didn't even know that was in the movie. So there's that. And again, literally the last, hour is about the Titanic, is when it's sinking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, honestly, it was more intense than I thought it would be. That last hour, you can really, feel what's going on. And it's done quite well, actually.
Yeah.
If anything, it's done almost too well, because you're just, exhausted after watching it, because it's, all this shit just keeps happening. And it's bruh, slow down, But it definitely, there's two things in particular that I like about it, where it definitely conveys the sense of, if you are in that situation, what do you do, right?
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
It's you want to save yourself, but it's there's also, again, kind of where they were stopping, should we save this person? And other people are what do we do? It's you want to save yourself, but it's you should save this other person, but do you, and it's it's a legitimate thing, because I think people always think about oh, if there was something bad happening, I'd totally know what to do, and I'm the best, and I'd save everybody, and it's no, you wouldn't,
No.
When you're actually put in that situation, then that's the only time you'll actually know if you will or not.
Yeah, I have no idea what I would do, and
not only that, but the thing is that there weren't enough lifeboats for everyone either.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is again on the context of the whole sinking of it as well, with the lifeboats and the fact that they kept people off of them and all this kind of shit. So but again, so that was true, but it's just I'm talking about the actual just characters.
No, I'm adding on to your thing where that adds to the panic and everything too,
right? Because
it's not that there's a lifeboat waiting for you.
Right, they didn't know at all. You know? And again, it's such a, how that's portrayed is really strong. And then also, they just touched upon this, and I wish they explored this more, is that at the beginning, the diver guys or whatever, the salvage guys, when they're first exploring the ship, they're all whoa, this is so cool, all this stuff, and oh my god, right? And then they're they meet Rose, and she's basically kind of upset by them because she's you guys don't get it, right?
Yeah.
You guys don't get what happened, and it's that's kind of all really important thing to think about, and it kind of comes back to imagine bringing this shit up now. But it's kind of like the whole like Nazi shit that's happening right now. Because it's like people don't get like what actually happened, right? And it's like they just think, you know, I mean, that's why again you have people who are like, you know, I wouldn't say that, you know, some people are anti-Semitic, but they'd like make some offhand joke like, oh, it's just a joke, whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, fine, I don't think you actively hate Jews, but it's like you don't get what happened, right?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I would argue that it's that like almost any topic you can make funny, it's just some topics are much harder to do so. So you know, it's something like that where it's just it's kind of a similar thing where it's like you have to understand what actually happened in the context for things. And that's why like the book Mouse, the comic thing.
Oh yeah, I read
that. I read that back when I was like 14 or 15 and I was like, shit, like this happened to a real person, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like this is kind of in a similar vein of realizing again that this was a real thing. And yeah, like the main characters are kind of like not real, but you still get the idea of what's going on in this, and like the scenario is real, and kind of again, if you were in that situation, you would have to deal with those things that did happen. You know what I mean? So you can easily put yourself in the role. So I'm talking all this good thing about the movie. Another thing.
Wait. Before you get to the other things.
Okay, I have another thing as well, but go ahead.
Another good thing is that they added and mentioned people that were actually on the ship too.
Oh yeah, you were pointing them out when they were getting introduced.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that person is a real person. That person was a real person, and so and so. And I also liked the fact that they included the band, because that was an actual thing that happened too, where they kept playing until the very end, and I believe the violin was salvaged and such.
That was really sad to see.
Yeah, and then the Macy's owner is actually the guy who started up Macy's and stuff. He and his wife died on the Titanic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was good. And the other thing that I was gonna say, and again, this is not something that like I would expect going into this movie, but like the visual style and like not the effects, but also again more so like the visual just aspect of like the whole thing is really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's excellent.
Yeah,
it's really well shot.
The cinematography is wonderful.
It's really good, and it really again captures everything while also conveying like the emotion of a scene or whatever. So, yeah, that's all really good as well. The problem, of course, is the two main characters.
Yeah.
And, okay, to be fair, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's not terrible, right?
I don't hate them.
No, they're just there. Like, who cares, right? It's not that great. I mean, I guess you could argue as like a backdrop for everything that's going on, especially when the action is going on. You can kind of put them as like a an insert for like the viewer, right?
Yeah,
because again, true. I feel like it's like, you know, Jack is like the person who wants both him and, you know, the person he loves to survive, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that's a kind of character you can place over anybody, right? Everyone wants to be in that kind of scenario. Everyone wants to be, you know, saving the people that they care about as well as themselves, right? So that's fine, but there are a few little things that get in the way, like the fact that they're like, you know, keep making out. Well, it's like, boy, the boat's collapsing, fucking stop, you know. And then also just like some of the dialogue is stupid. Some of it's cool, some of it's good, but like some of it's stupid.
There was that one line that we all liked.
I
would rather be his whore than your wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, you done fucked up if someone said that to you.
Yeah.
Your goal in life is to have nobody say that to you. But yeah, so some of it's good. Like a lot of the romance stuff is just kind of, again, it's not terrible. It's just like, bleh. And again, they don't focus on it nearly as much as I thought they would.
Yeah.
So
that too, you have to keep in mind that the romance only lasted about 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not quite like old Disney princess like
Yeah.
romance. It's not quite there. Again, they do stuff together, and you can see how they kind of learn about each other, but it's still not good. It's just not like totally dumb.
It's not awful.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who has been in a relationship for like closing in on 3.5 years, it takes longer than that. But it's not, I definitely get like the infatuation part of it. Like people say like, oh, is love at first sight, and I say, well, I would say there's infatuation at first sight, right? But love definitely needs to grow, and they do show some growth, right? So it's not terrible. It's just it's not that great, and it's not for me. Like honestly, I don't dislike romance plots. It's just they need to be done well, and it's very hard to do. Apparently, at least. I mean, I've never tried to write one, so who knows how hard they actually are. They're probably harder than you'd think. But I have not really seen a movie that actually does them well. Because they usually focus on the wrong things, or the characters themselves are just not that interesting, or I don't know, right? So I basically I need the very specific criteria to be pleased or so. I don't know. But you get the idea. So it's again better than I thought. I don't think it was a waste of time to see. Would I see it again?
I'm
not sure.
Ironically enough, despite it being the longest film we've seen thus far, it actually felt shorter than some of the other films.
Yeah, it really did not feel that long.
It used its time very well.
Yeah.
It had 3 hours, and it knew what to do in each minute of those 3 hours. Nothing dragged.
If anything, the part that was the most long, and I wouldn't even say this was like really bad or anything, was the actual like action part in the last third.
Yeah.
But that was more so just the fact that it's like it just kept increasing and kept increasing and kept increasing, and it's like, let me breathe for half a minute, So in a sense, you could argue that that's like the point, right? They want you to be like, this is, focus on just how much crazy shit happened, and so
because
I get that.
They're trying to put you in the situation
of
like
which they do
putting
really
you on the boat, basically.
Yeah, and again,
as much as you can be.
Yeah.
They do that quite well. But yeah, would I watch this again? Probably not. But if someone was like, hey, I don't know who that I know would want to do this, but if someone was like, hey, want to watch Titanic? I'd be like, I wouldn't immediately say no. Let me put it that way, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's fine, basically. It's fine. Has some things that are really cool about it. Has other things that are just whatever. But there's nothing I can think of that's bad about it.
Yeah.
Really.
A good way to put it is just, it's worth the watch if
Mm-hmm.
you want
It's
to
worth
experience
watching it at least once.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And then afterwards you can watch documentaries, because then you get more of the actual history of it, which would be very interesting. And
one more thing I want to add is that during the last half or so, the whole movie doesn't actually concentrate on the two main characters all the time. I liked how it switched to other people, so you get the whole story of what is actually going on.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. They spent enough time on each of the different perspectives they were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Which I found really nice, because there was one part where we were jumping from all the other people and stuff, and then we got back to these two, and I was like, oh yeah, right, these are our two main characters.
Yeah. It was nice to forget that they were actually the main characters when we saw the band and the police officer guy and the captain. It was very interesting to see what their situations were as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and the architect and stuff.
Yeah, so definitely I'd say give it a watch if you haven't seen it. Trust me, I thought it was gonna be all romance, but it's definitely got more than that, and it doesn't really even focus on it that much. So even if you really don't like that stuff, there's still some stuff to enjoy in this. So
you can definitely overlook the romance very easily.
Yeah. I would say the first half of the movie is not that interesting. You know,
if you just like get the introductions of like the actual real people and then skip the romance to like the ship sinking,
yeah,
then
if you want to go
fine.
like the first 30 minutes and then skip halfway, right?
Yeah.
So like the first 30 minutes, then skip an hour.
Yeah,
like, you honestly probably wouldn't miss too much, but
even if you watch the hour, it's not that long.
No, it doesn't.
You still
feel
get
that
like the cinematography and everything that's going on and stuff.
Yeah, definitely watch it for the visuals.
Oh, actually, one more thing, which I think is the one. I don't want to say bad, but it was the one thing that we were just like, why did this come up again? Was the song?
Oh yeah.
They have like 3 different symphonic remixes of Near or Wherever You Are, whatever the name is of the song. It keeps coming up like every 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was super distracting. It's like, do they literally just have they just spent so much money on the effects of the sets that they literally just had enough money, like, oh shit, we only have enough money for one song. It was like they had nothing else.
Honestly, if this is what we got for cinematography and stuff, I am not complaining.
Yeah,
to be fair.
Either.
That's probably fair.
You will just be kind of like, is that the same song again?
Yeah.
In a different, like, tempo or something?
Yeah. It was kind of funny when Valen was like, wait a minute, I forgot the song was in here, and we were just like, Valen...
completely thought it was just a meme at this point.
No, because you associate it with the meme more than anything else. So I'm just like, oh, it's the sad, sappy love song, right? And like, oh, wait, shit, that sappy love song comes from Titanic.
What was the other thing that you didn't realize?
Oh, the draw me like one of your French girls thing.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that was from this movie, too.
I can't believe you didn't remember.
It's okay, we all learned something new.
Yeah.
I learned about French girls.
Oh my
god! I'm learning things. Well,
okay.
I guess, yeah.
So we're gonna segue into the mini recap of the year of 1997.
It sucked.
Basically, like, if you don't count Iron Man and Captain America,
those
which
are great.
Totally not from this year at all. Basically, this year was not a year for movies.
No.
Yeah, there were like 3 movies that we liked, which was LA Confidential, Men in Black, and I guess Titanic too.
I guess Titanic.
I would argue that also, overall, I would say Devil's Advocate was. I would say Devil's Advocate was worth watching from my perspective, but again, that's very borderline, right?
Yeah.
The others were definitely, again, LA Confidential, Men in Black, Titanic. Those are kind of the main ones. Devil's Advocate was definitely like, and then the others were not.
No.
So bad.
Yeah. Because, Iron Man, Captain America, great. The thing is, like, again, the movies that they were otherwise, it was the special editions of the first 2 Star Wars movies, so it's not like those were from this year either, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we gonna do, right?
So anyway, they wouldn't have ever been made to be released in 1990. So that's fine.
Yeah, and then, so there was those. Those are both great. Liar Liar was...
obnoxious.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
The Saint was just bizarre.
The Saint was just kind of stupid. Yeah. It was. We're just watching it like, what the fuck is happening?
I can't believe you guys can actually like list them out. I can't even. Everything just blurred together.
I'm looking at the list right now. That's how I know.
At the list. For my reference.
But yeah, Saints just like, honestly, the sad thing is looking at the movies, like, the Saint is like in the better half of the movies.
Which is really sad.
It is really sad. Especially
then,
if you don't count Captain America and Iron Man, because it's like, yeah, I'd probably no, I'd say not quite, but it's close. It's not, yeah. Well, anyway, it's still not a good movie, but it's not as bad as other ones.
A movie made in the 80s for the 70s and released in the 90s. Someone put that on a t-shirt, okay?
There's how to market it.
Oh my god.
To someone who would apparently like that. Then Lost World, which was
stupid.
Honestly, it was just forgettable.
Yeah.
Which, if anything, like, that you think, how the fuck could a Jurassic Park movie be forgettable?
I don't know.
But it somehow
I thought
was.
that there was a Jurassic Park movie this year.
I know, see? I was like, oh yeah, that happened. Because again, like, I would say, like, The Saint is probably a worse movie.
But at least we kind of remember it. Because it's so bizarre.
Yeah, so it's just like, how do you make Jurassic Park boring?
I don't know.
It's like almost impressive. And the thing is, I've seen people say they like this movie, and it's like, I don't get it. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just
the snake. Oh my god.
That's like literally the one thing I remember. The snake.
I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, right,
Gets scared by snake, gets eaten by dinosaur.
Yeah, that was fucking stupid. There was that, and the fucking gymnastics thing.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb
How
shit.
convenient.
Yeah. And that, speaking of dumb shit, my best friend's wedding. Wasn't that a joyous occasion to witness? Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Awful movie.
We got saved by Men in Black.
Yeah, which again is not even like that good. It's just like it's decent, and it's like second best movie of the year. Full Monty was just again kind of dumb and weird.
It was dull. The main crime is that it was dull.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, how could a movie with that premise be dull? But it was. I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's probably. I feel like we didn't understand some of the jokes that were dropped, but even still, it was pretty dull.
Yeah. They could have done something, at least with the narrative, like just even if the jokes were just things that flew over our heads because we're either too young or not British. At least we could have gotten something out of the narrative, but we got nothing out of the narrative except for the fact that the main guy was like a horrible father.
Yeah. And a horrible person.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, and I feel like there's movies, like especially like talking about going back to Dumb and Dumber and even also My Best Friend's Wedding, where it's like, people, or like at least a lot of these movies, people seem to think that just like being a shitty person is like funny.
Yeah.
I don't know how
But it's not. It's like, if you're a shitty person, but then like something happens to you in response to that, that can be funny.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens. It's like someone's a shitty person, and then it's just like, well, okay, let's keep going. And it's like, no, yeah. So
it doesn't work that way.
No. Or yeah. And then LA Confidential, solid movie.
Again, saved.
Yeah.
Yes. You're safe.
Again, still not that great, but at least it was decent, right?
Yeah.
We remembered what like a decent movie looked like.
Yeah,
again.
where like movies can be not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was nice. Devil's Advocate, I'd say, was the most mixed of them.
It was a split opinion between the three of us.
And again, well, I don't even think it's that good, but I think there are good elements to it. So, That's the main thing for me. But yeah, there's definitely things about it that aren't good. So yeah, I don't know. It's that.
Bean
Existed.
It's a more memorable movie than Lost World somehow.
Which is very sad, yeah. But it is. Yeah, that's really sad that especially when you say it like that. Jesus Christ.
Bean was a more memorable movie than Lost World.
Yeah, that's really depressing.
And then we had Titanic, which ended up being the third best.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, that's so. If anything, the real question is just: is this year worse than 1996?
I don't know.
I don't either. Because here's the thing: 1997 had a lot of movies that weren't very good, but it didn't have that many movies that were awful.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? The only one that I'd say was awful was My Best Friend's Wedding. And then I'd say a few other of them were pretty bad, but not quite awful. Right? But, like, 96 had Tin Cup, Bed of Roses,
I guess the
First
thing with
Wives
90...
Club. You know what I mean? It's like...
The thing with 96 is that there was only one movie that we all liked, which is 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some other... Like, again, Independence Day was not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, we enjoyed it.
I think, like, Primal Fear was kind of mixed. The Rock was at least okay for what it was. Jerry Maguire was alright. You know what I mean? So, again, it's not like it was all bad, but, yeah, I'd say overall, probably...
We at least said that we liked a movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, yeah, it was decent. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
There was one movie we liked in 96.
That is true.
Yeah, looking at what I have on my ranking, I have 2 96 movies ranked higher than any 97 movie.
Ah.
And that not counting Captain America and Iron Man, right? So, you know, and then also I have after the first 97 one, I then have another 96 one, right? So I have like 3 96 ones with only one 97 one. So, you know, but again, that said, at the bottom of the list, though, I have, you know, at the very bottom, I have like 5 movies from 96, but like 2 from 97, right? So it's like, you know, which one's worse?
Say.
Yeah, it's very hard to say. I would
probably... The 97 year basically like fattened the middle part of the list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
The middle and lower.
Yeah.
Like the third and fourth, fifth. If you want to think of it that way.
Oh my god.
Whereas 96 was more like the second, third, and fifth. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I don't
Second,
know.
third.
Like third and fifth. I don't know. Whatever. I think overall, yeah, I'd probably have to say 97 is slightly better. But
I'm still not sure.
It's very hard to say.
I would like to say that they're maybe tied, but
we're
still early.
Dalmatians again.
Yeah, I would totally love to watch 101 Dalmatians.
All the puppies.
There were a decent amount of puppies in Titanic.
But then you know what happens to the puppies.
Well, that's different.
Okay, so
this is a long video.
Except for the Pomeranian.
I think we're done.
So, yeah, this is the end of 1997, and we'll be going into 1998. Around halfway, I'm gonna stop introducing, which you guys probably might have realized, but a little bit sad, but I'll live.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
You did a very nice job.
We're gonna start off the year in a very interesting way.
I'm not looking forward to this.
I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think
like
of
with the title, and we didn't like read anything on it, so
No.
I have like 2 ideas of how this might go, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, looking at most of 98, it should be better overall, but I don't know, that first one just, it scares me. I'm a scared boy right now.
Oh, Valen, when you said that, Sora just looked over at me and gave me this look.
Sora knows.
She knows. She has a premonition. It's her 6th sense going off.
He's like, don't do it, guys.
Don't do it, guys!
Well, I guess we'll see you back here for 1998.
Yep.
We will see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh boy.